Yo, what's good, Tackles and Tinnies listeners? This is on the quick one today. We're back onto the NRL Supercoach team picker, and I just want to give my thoughts on where I've been. I've been tinkering left, right, and center for the current team I've had, and I think we just get straight into it. So I've gone into the hooking position first. Reed Marnie has stayed in my team, but I've also now swapped out Bailey Hayward for Jake Simpkins. An extra 100K into the hooker position, but the reason being is I pretty much got two guys at a very similar price point who have a very similar role in regards to potential minutes. Both have got really no one interrupting them in regards to how they're going to proceed for 2026. My logic is I can always downgrade. It's very hard to upgrade. So whoever's doing better, well, if they're both doing good, obviously I just hold them and hopefully that's making me some money. But if one of them is doing better than the other one, I can just get rid of them and downgrade to a guy like Bailey Hayward, around 320K, or even potentially getting another guy by the name of Brandon Smith. You've got to scroll all the way down. So 235K for Brandon Smith. So definitely an option there. Not too sure on Brandon Smith's role. Doubt he starts a hooker. Maybe starts at lock, potentially. Could he start? Could he be like a hybrid front row off the bench? Don't know. Too early to tell. And I don't want to get into the trap of having too many Rabbitohs play, and I'll get to that conversation pretty soon. So in the front row position, I was tinkering between guys like Flegler, who's coming back from injury. He could definitely still be a guy in my team, but just unsure on how he's going to be going in regards to his recovery and actual game-like minutes moving forward. Again, very easy to downgrade, very hard to upgrade. So I've got Payne, Haas, and Keon still on my team. Very happy with that. And I got Jesse from the Sharks. So Jesse Calhoun, very solid. Dual position as well, which I'll get to shortly, but that's going to be really, really handy. You're only at 332K, mostly likely starting at lock due to some injuries at the Sharks. Definitely probably at least 50, 55-minute role at a minimum. So again, really, really handy as a FRF 3 or 4. And then my other guy is Taniela Paseka. Huge raps on him. Had him in my original team number 1. Definitely still one of my top guys who I want to be playing with. All these other guys you can see on the screen, guys like AFB, Typinade, Terrell May. These are guys I hope to get later on. But I think Keon and Payne Haas obviously he probably have the most upside. Terrell May is that variable. Didn't really like how he played in the Pack Nations, guys. So definitely something I'm watching in the trials. I'm not too far away from just going double front row. What is his minute so as well? Is he going to be pumping out 70 minutes a game for 2026? Again, time will tell. Not too sure there. But yeah, I'm happy with my front row. Second row is tricky, guys. There's so many mid-range guys who you could pick from. But I've set on for the current guys. For feed is 100% a lock. I'm not sure who's going to be starting in the second row for Eli Katoa. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Lasati, but it could be a guy like Joe Chan. So Lasati's only 269. Joe Chan's around the early 300s. So again, pretty easy to get the cash to go up to that position. But I'm pretty happy with Lasati at this stage. Started second row in patches where Joe Chan lost his minutes and/or role. Not sure. Obviously, preseason's very, very early, guys. Helam Lukey, he's been in and out of my team probably like 30 times coming off the ACL injury. He was about 475K last year. He's only 404K this year. I just think if he can stay on the paddock, he's just going to make money. It's inevitable. He's going to probably get that starting second row position alongside Nanai. I really like his potential upside as well. Potentially origin level player for Queensland. Obviously, he's got to get on the park and show that he can stay fit. But guys like Dylan Lucas, Hudson Young, Tino, Preston, I just don't really want to be spending I don't want to be spending 650K plus on a second row at this stage. Things could change, obviously, but yeah, not that keen to spend on guys like Kikau and Olakawatu early on in the season. McEwen. So Knights, obviously they came last, so there's going to be a couple of guys who are underpriced and one of those guys you'll see on my screen very, very shortly. But I think McEwen's got a lock for that second row position now, especially that Kai Pearce-Paul isn't in the team. I think that's going to be a pretty good pick. And personally, I reckon if you haven't got on your team, guys, he's a guy that you definitely need to get in. Another guy that I've liked from the very start is Pia Kura. Premiership winning second rower now. Went through the condoldrums of Madge Maguire's picking, getting over Gojeski at stages. Had to work really hard to get back in the team. And once he earned his spot, he looked really, really good. He's had injury problems and head knocks in the past. That's always a concern. But I think at $305,000, minimum 60 minutes on the park, he's inevitably going to make you some money. And as a 2RF 4 to 6, I think he's very good value. And then I've got a guy by the name of Ethan Roberts. He's a 2RF front row dual at bottom dollar. And again, guys like Calhoun, and Ethan Roberts, they can switch around on matchup pending. So again, that's pretty handy. And again, my mate Adam, who's come number 3 in Australia in the past, he's always wanted to start with enough in the front row with a dual position. So that's an opportunity where I can do so. And I think there's more upside in the front row this year at this stage in those bottom or to mid-tier kind of guys. Now, halfback. This one's tricky. So I've been tinkering between different things. I've looked at Nico Hines. I've had Jaden Campbell at stages. I had Luke Metcalf probably about 20 minutes, just having a look at how that could fit. Metcalf's coming back from the ACL injury with goal kicking duties. Jerome Hughes, obviously, Pappenhausen is going to get a little bit more ball. Not sure about that one. Guys like Isaiah Katoa, I don't know. We'll see. Sammy Walker's showing the role with DCE. Jamal Fogarty's a new team. Nathan Cleary, obviously, he's top dog at top dollar as well, $826K. Got a pretty tough draw, and I faded Nathan Cleary early last year, and it actually worked in my favor. He could definitely go for 100 after 100 after 100 early on, but first round matchup against the Broncos, not too keen on that. So I'm happy to fade early, but obviously you can see that I have an issue because I got 2 bottom dollar cheapies in Daniel Atkinson and Ethan Sanders. Whether or not Sanders or Kobe Black get that role, they're both around that $200,000 to $200,000 role. I'd rather start cheap and then build up. I've teetered and had a look at other guys around that price, but at this stage, I'm happy with the 2 bottom dollar cheapies. Now, 5'8", also contentious. I've been playing around with Cameron Munster. I've been playing around with Brimo. I've been playing around with Ethan Strange. I've also played around and looked at Burden's numbers. Not too keen on Burden. Purdue, obviously got him my center wing, but I've been flexing him between 5'8" and second row. And then we can scroll down to guys like Luai. Wasn't too keen on Luai, at least not at the start. And then I definitely had Cody Walker for a very, very long time. But then I would have the issue of Fafita, Cody Walker, Latrell Mitchell, and then I also had a guy previously in Jai Gray. There's too many Rabbitohs, especially and Keon. There's too many Rabbitohs. So I couldn't do at this stage in this configuration of my lineup. AJ Brimson has proven to be healthy as of last season. I'm touching wood, please, Gold Coast Titans. But yeah, that $650K, he's the kind of guy that you'd want. It's either him or Munster. But the good thing about AJ Brimson is I don't have to worry about origin period time. So that's really, really important. And I like that Keanu Kinney's back because I think Brimo and Keeney can help each other with their running games. Very similar to what the Raiders do with KO Weeks and Ethan Strange. Like for a like in my eyes. So I thought that was good. Obviously doesn't kick, not ideal, but none of these guys do. Ethan Strange, if he does get the goal kicking, 100% downgrading. 100% downgrading. That means I'd have a Sanders-Ethan Strange combination, which then would probably make me maybe want to change, but we'll see. And then obviously probably everyone's got the guy. Jonah Pezzett at $235K is inevitably going to be making some money. So he's definitely a guy that I recommend that you get early on if he locks down that 5'8" position alongside Mitchell Moses. Centre wing, I've been tinkering with this a lot as well. Heaps of guys you could choose from. I had Karaz, I had Marky Mark, I had Val, I had Kale Ero all at one stage. Tuivasa-Sheck made an appearance. Garrick made an appearance about at 664k with the uncertainty of goal kicking. I think Fogarty's a better kicker in my eyes. Not sure on that. But I've actually gone straight to Herbie Farnworth. I want him in my team. Proven gun, absolute beast, try scoring machine. Not the Raiders, the Dolphins. The Dolphins love going left. So if Herbie's there, I really want him. And don't want to waste a trade to go get him as well. That's important. And again, it's easy to downgrade if something happens. Latrell Mitchell, he's been my team since day one. He hasn't moved. Stephen Crichton. So as you guys know, 600k. He's been flexing between that fullback center wing position. I'm really hoping they just rip off the Band-Aid, Stephen Crichton straight to fullback. I'd love to see that. But if he does have that flex position, I'm still a little bit tempted, but I might switch out. Not sure yet. But again, very role pendant. If he gets that roaming fullback, very keen. Brian Toto, I think he's just due for a bit of a Supercoach bounce back. I think he's a little underpriced. He's got really good base at 598k. Again, a Panthers team that should start better than last year. I do like that. Obviously got Origin later on, which I've got some guys who I will have to trade out eventually, but I think he's a good gap guy to get up to like a guy like Horazon or Marky Mark. Purdue, as I mentioned with Brimson, I've been flexing between the two, where Purdue having a chance at the starting 5'8" position. But I do like the idea of him starting in my center wing as a backup. I've also been seeing him train at halfback. I've had guys, Rocco Berry staying in my squad pretty much the whole time. Most likely get a starting center position. Jalen de Groot at 315. I'm hearing murmurs that Brian Kelly's looking at going to the Parramatta Eels effective immediately, which pretty much gives Jalen de Groot that passage straight through into that starting wing or center position. Really like that, and underpriced at 315k. And then my last three guys, and again, this is tough. I've been going with Ponga. I've been going with guys like Tedesco and Reece Walsh. I just don't like the matchup first up for Walshy. I think he's going to start a little bit slower than we think. I'm hoping he just gets a little bit of a downgrade in regards to price. And with Ponga's converting, I think that subsidizes a little bit of the growing pains. And again, with Fletcher Sharp and Dylan Brown there, I think that's going to help it just a tiny little bit to get the price up and down for both players. So I'm hoping there's going to be a better gap. Keanu Keeney hasn't left my team. He's definitely a lock regardless. And Su'a Longo, again, I've mentioned guys like Jai Gray. I've mentioned guys like Falongo. These are the guys at that mid-range price who definitely have upside to get up to like 650, 700k. Falongo's base isn't great, but I was having a look at last year's stats, and when he had a chance to play 80 minutes, far out, he was getting like 70 plus points. So again, at $511,000, there's definitely potential for him to go higher in price. And again, he's a good gap player to get up to a guy like maybe a Turbo. Turbo's also been in my team at 692k, but I'm kind of liking these guys averaging around 550k for the triple fullback position. I think that has probably the most upside in regards to a more balanced squad. Again, there's so many variables early on, but these three guys I'm pretty confident will make money to get me to a Tedesco, to get me to a Walsh later on. But guys, that's my team. I'm pretty happy at the moment. So I'll quickly run through it again. At hooker, I've got Reed Marnie and Simpkin. Again, potential for one of them to drop out and to get a guy like Brandon Smith or Hayward, pending role, which again will show me some cash later on. Payne Haas, Keon, I locked in my front row. I'm pretty happy with that. I can almost set and forget up to Origin time. Jesse Colquhoun, most likely got that lock position for the Cronulla Sharks. Good minutes. Again, that dual position, we love to see that. Probably going to get to around $500,000. Bit of a slower burn, but happy with that sort of upside there. And then Taniela Paseka, set and forget, starting front rower. He's the enforcer for Manly. Very happy with him. He's locked in. Second row, Fafita, Lukey, Lasati, McEwen, Piakora, and then enough in Ethan Roberts. Again, a lot of variability, roles pending, minutes pending. But in regards to the sort of price range, as you can guys see, it's probably averaged around $400,000, give or take. That's the price point I'm looking for at the second row position. I think there is a a lot of guys who could make me some money again to get me to these top tier guys, as you can see on the screen. Halfback position, I've reluctantly, again, keyword reluctantly, opted for the double cheapie in Atkinson and Sanders. I would love to get a Jaden Campbell or a Nico Hines. I am fading the Nathan Cleary early on, which I did last year nail-bitingly, but I think that has the most potential. But if I can get up to like a Metcalf or a Jerome Hughes, I'd be more comfortable later on. But we will see. There's a lot of money to be made. And if a front rower pops out of nowhere, I could be tempted to either drop down a Keon or drop down a guy like maybe a Toto. Maybe like a Toto. But we'll get to that. So double cheapie halfback, 5'8". Currently, I've got locked in AJ Brimson. Pretty secure role. Back in the halves. Going to get plenty of ball. Titans surely going to do better than they did last year. Keanu Keeney's there. Those two will complement each other really well. Again, I mentioned it before. It's a Ethan Strange, KO Weeks-esque type combination with Brimson and Keeney. So I'm hoping that those two guys pop off. Brimson don't have to worry about injury. Don't have to worry about origin. Injuries in the past, I'm hoping that has gone past him. So that's obviously good. I'm trying to save trades this year, guys. Trying to save trades this year. And I think everyone's got Jonah Pez at 235k. A lot of variability here, guys. Herbie, Latrell, Crichton, Toto, Purdue. I'm pretty happy and confident with those guys. Stephen Crichton's the only variability. If he doesn't get that fullback position or that roaming fullback position, he's probably gone for someone cheaper to boost up somewhere else. But kind of happy with that. And then Rocco Berry's on the fringes if he gets that center position. And Jalen DeGroot, again, with Brian Kelly potentially leaving the Gold Coast Titans effective immediately. More than happy for him to stay there, undervalued in that regard. Fullback positions, I've got Farlongo and Keeney, high upside guys, really electric in attack, could go gangbusters and points. Again, we're trying to get to guys like Tedesco and Walshy long term, even a guy like potentially Trebojevic, but again, we'll see. And currently my flex position, I've got Ponga, surely due for a bounce back, former Dalian medalist. I think he's going to be a bit more rejuvenated now that Fletcher Sharp is back from injury and that obviously got Dylan Brown there as well. I think that's going to help him a lot. So Ponga's there. He goal kicks. Undervalued. Hopefully again get to 750k and there'll be an easy bridge up to Walshy or Tedesco. So guys, that's my team. What do you guys think? I want to hear from you guys. Comparatively to part one of my team picker to part two, do you like my changes? Am I still missing a guy? Do you think some of my picks are trash? Who's a really good shout? Again, I want to hear from you guys in the comments. I probably won't do another team pick until probably late January when we get a bit more intel on some guys. But this is my refined version from the first one with a bit more time and tinkering, as we love tinkering here on Tackles and Tinnies. But most importantly, guys, it's the 23rd of December. I wish you guys a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And those mini-series will be filmed in the next coming days, if not tonight. So stay tuned for that as well, guys. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Love you all.